protocol already established, good afternoon to all. I, the second speaker, will now expound on our position on the moot. It is clear that with a growing culture of solicitation among visitors and residents alike, it is a very serious indication of the possibility of the increased spreading of HIV. With that in mind, we must wonder whether or not this mandatory testing will be for citizens alone. If the aim is to get to zero, we can't exclude tourists or visitors, can we? Let us consider further whether or not it is illegal to implement mandatory testing. Let us talk also about the ripple effects of mandatory testing to begin with. I wonder if TCI is ready to deal with the plethora of damage after opening Pandora's box. Tourists who come to our islands look forward to enjoying sun, sand, and sea, don't they? I guess the new sales pitch of the Turks and Caicos Islands will change to sun, sand, sea, and HIV testing. Do you really understand the message we will be sending to tourists? Make no doubt, they will stop coming to our islands, and our economy, which thrives dominantly on tourism, will get a colossal blow. Proverbs 18 verse 19 says that a brother offended is harder to win than a strong city, and contentions are like the bars of a castle. Ladies and gentlemen, mandatory testing is completely unrealistic for many reasons. National law will not support the testing of persons' blood to indicate whether or not those persons are HIV infected. That alone is a violation of the Human Rights Charter, not to mention that tourists do not even have to present a health certificate upon entering the Turks and Caicos Islands. How are we, therefore, going to compel them to be tested for HIV upon entry to the country? Furthermore, where will the funding of such a program come from? The money that we have now is not sufficient to fund the program. Also, ask yourselves, if this mandatory testing is implemented, is it done in any other country? No, it isn't, because it is quite unrealistic. Consider this. What is more likely to be asked before two people have sexual intercourse? A, do you have a condom? Or B, may I see your blood test, please? It is definitely A. Realistically, the only way to get to zero is for both partners to do a test and then exchange results. If mandatory testing is even proposed and implemented, the only way it can produce a drastic reduction in HIV cases is to publish the results so that everyone will know who is infected and who isn't. However, this will abolish the confidentiality code after the HIV KAPB report has committed to addressing the fears of non-confidentiality. We are well aware that the commitment would be broken. There's also the issue of budget constraints, which will make mandatory testing unrealistic and impossible. There has been cuts left, right, and center, and the money that we have is not sufficient to fund such programs. The National AIDS Committee KAPB report does not advocate mandatory testing, but rather lean towards addressing the spread of ideas of HIV through models such as knowledge, attitudes, practices, and behaviors. In other words, mandatory testing necessitates other conditions. But plainly, ladies and gentlemen, the proposition implicit concurs with our assessment that mandatory testing by itself is not effective because it requires other considerations in order for it to be executed and properly instituted. If the proposition think that mandatory testing is not assisted by the combined pooling of resources and measures, they have fatally misunderstood the complexities of social facts, and we, the opposing team, is here to diffuse that fantasy. I rest my case.